It's your boy Ty back here with another video, and in this video today, guys, we're going to be going over our top 10 centers right now in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM, and I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts on each and every one of them. Now, obviously in the power forward position, the small forward position, I try to keep all the positions separate, but with the power forward center position, it's nearly impossible to do. Because half the people are playing Giannis at center, half are playing him at power forward. Similar to like Chris Bosh, half are at center, half are at power forward. And even with Chet, he's so much better at power forward than center, and so it's just nearly impossible to keep them separate. So you see a lot of the similarities from this list and the power forward list. Just know that's valid. But a guy like Chet might be top 2 or 3 on the power forward list, and you guys got to see where he's at on my center list. As we do start things off at number 10, with the Mikan man, Mr. George Mikan here. I got this card in my Nobody's Fit Squad series, and honestly, I was like, I don't really know what to expect, but I like this card. And with George Mikan, it all starts with his release. The Devin Booker base, John Collins upper, are release timing normal. It makes his 3-ball, which is only a 67, feel a ton better than that. Anytime I'm open with George Mikan, I let it fly, and normally he knocks it down. Now, maybe the bronze catch and shoot Claymore, those badges do help him out with a low 3-ball as well. But I've been using this card in the Nobody's Bet, and if you've watched that series, you know George Mikan has been absolutely elite. He competes defensively, especially on the interior. Obviously, offensively with that release is really solid. I've got no issues with the Mikan man in my team, and I think this card is definitely a card that you guys, I don't want to say should pick up, but definitely can pick up and have a ton of success with. I got him for free. That's why I personally have him. But if you get him for free, you can absolutely run George Mikan in my team. Coming into my number 9 is a card a lot of people, I guess, don't run. A lot of people probably don't know about. It's Diamond Tim Duncan. Now, here's the deal. The difference between Tim Duncan and George Mikan is this. George Mikan can shoot. Tim Duncan can't. Tim Duncan's going to be way, way, way better defensively. George Mikan, again, gives you that ability to shoot. I don't like Tim Duncan, though. To me, he's an inside center at 6'11". Why run him when Shaq, Wilt are in the game? It just does not make sense to me. And that's the big problem I have with him. I get a Hall of Fame anchor, box out, beast, post, lockdown, rebound chaser. All those things are nice. Great rebounding stats. Can handle the ball a little bit. Mid-range, can shoot it. I just don't see it with Tim Duncan. And that's my opinion on it. I don't see a reason in which this card should ever play for you guys. And I know there's going to be some Tim Duncan stands out there that are like, Ty, you just haven't used the card. Ty, Tim Duncan is good. All these things. And I respect your guys' opinion. I respect your guys' thoughts. But there's about nothing in my team that's going to make me love Tim Duncan. At my number 8, we're plugging in Amethyst Anthony Davis. I like him better at power forward than center. At center, he's only 6'10". He's got good interior defense. But again, at the end of the day, he's only 6'10". I think at the power forward position, that's going to be his best position. His most, I think he's most versatile at that position with his ability to defend on the perimeter. Decent 3-ball, decent speed, decent lateral. Can make some plays. Defensive badges are good. He's just a good all-around big man in my team. The one thing AD is a little behind in is the badges. If you compare his badges, let's say even to Tim Duncan, you're going to notice Tim Duncan's badges be a lot better. And it makes sense. AD came out a month and a half ago. I don't expect him to still be the best center in the game. That would be foolish. But the fact that he's still top 8 on this list, I personally think is super crazy. At my number 7, we're plugging in Jaren Jackson Jr. Now, similar to what I said on the power forward list, it's going to be the same thing on the center list on why I like him more than Anthony Davis. I just think on the interior, he's going to compete that little bit better than Anthony Davis. Now, a lot of it has to do with this player model player build. A lot of it has to do just with his defensive stats as well. AD's release, I think, obviously is smoother, probably a little better, even though it might be a little slower. The one thing about Jaren is I like his defensive player build about as much as anybody's in my team. And I've used Jaren, and I've had so much success with him. Even when I'm up playing against a guy like Giannis, I don't really care because Jaren is 90% of what Giannis is. So I don't really care. I don't feel like I'm at that much of a disadvantage. I'm a big fan of Jaren in my team. And I'm so glad I got the unsellable Jaren, so I don't have to worry, oh, well, he's going to lose his value. I can just continue to run him for my foreseeable future. At my number 6, we're plugging in the Diamond Season 1 reward, Gauntlet reward, Chris Bosh. 6'11", 7'3" wingspan. Now, as times went on, I've gotten way more comfortable with his release, started greening way more shots, and that's the big thing for Chris Bosh. If you can green with this card, there's not many better power forward centers in the entire game, because he's a stretch big that can compete on the interior with an 87 interior, good rebounder, Hall of Fame rebound chaser. There's not that many guys in the game that can do everything Chris Bosh can do with his versatility, his ability to shoot the ball. I'm glad I got him on both the No Money Spent and my regular account, because he still plays on both. You guys might be like, oh, Ty, he probably doesn't play on, your good account anymore. No, Chris Bosh still does. It's just at that power forward position, but he's definitely a card that I've used for, I don't know, since he came out, basically a month, and I have absolutely loved my time with Chris Bosh. At my number 5, Chet Holmgren. Now, you guys might think he deserves to be higher, and I'm willing to listen to you guys. But my whole thing with this is with Chet is this. He's got a 48 strength. And if he comes up against any of the big 3, or big 4, I should say, any of the guys ahead of him, the one thing he's going to struggle with is the fact that his strength is at a 48. For anybody that says strength does not matter when a card can't get brick wall, it's over the top of my head. Like, I can't vouch for a center that is probably going to be setting a lot of screens that can't get brick wall and his strength is a 48. I'm not going to vouch for that. You guys want to, that's fine. He's going to shoot the ball well. His player model is fantastic, but he is not a center, in my opinion, of my team. He's a power forward. I'll give you guys credit. I think at the power forward position, he's absolutely elite, and I can't sit here and talk negatively about him at that power forward position. But if we're talking at the center position, I just think Chet leaves a little too much to be desired, in my opinion. Time for our top 4. Starting off with the Diamond NBA is back, Joel Embiid. 7 feet tall, 7'5" wingspan. I gotta start with this. Joel Embiid, I've never really used you, but I've seen enough out of you over the past couple of days in the comp MyTEAM scene that I'll respect you. And I'm not even going to talk about you shooting. Hall of Fame anchor, box out beast, post lockdown, your ability to rebound the ball. That's what really got me. And I don't know if it has to do with his vertical. I feel like his rebounding is just off the charts good. Combine that with his ability to knock down shots, his ability to have a ton of badges, decent speed, decent lateral quickness. I feel like on the defensive end of the court, he's honestly underrated. I mean, and that's not even me really talking about his ability to shoot the ball, stretch the court, which is very important in his own right. I think if you don't have Joel Embiid, at least in your top 5, you're probably doing things wrong. Do I think Jaren might be a more complete overall player since he has power forward eligibility? I think you can definitely make the case. But at the center position, Joel Embiid holds it down about as good as anybody else. Can shoot the ball, gets paint stops. And how many guys can shoot the ball, get paint stops, and is one of the best rebounders in the game? That's the question I'd really ask you when breaking down Joel Embiid, because he does all of those things at a really high level in my team. Cracking my top 3. Level 40 reward, Wilt Chamberlain. Now, this Wilt can get every badge in the game. This Wilt can only get selected few badges. And so that does make a difference. If you're talking about just the no money spent Wilt, he's basically Shaq. I mean, either Wilt's basically Shaq, to be honest with you, but one can get every badge in the game and the other one obviously can't. Now, here's the deal for Wilt. Is he better than Shaq in my opinion? Well, you guys should probably know that where I'm ranking them. I think Shaq overall is the better option. Why? I don't know. I think it might have to do with his wider player model, player build, but I feel like Wilt is just a slightly worse Shaq in my opinion. Does get Hall of Fame anchor, box out beast, brick wall, pogo stick, rebound chaser, and he is just so dominant as an interior big. And yes, if you can't run interior bigs and you love stretch bigs, put Joel Embiid ahead of Wilt Chamberlain. I've got no issues if you guys decide to do that. For me, I've been using Wilt Chamberlain since I've got him. I badged him up, and I've been loving the card so much. Gets paint stops, gets every rebound in the game. I just have no issues with him. The only problem is I have Shaq at my number 2, who I just think is a little bit better. Again, I don't have anything to back up why I think he's better. I think it has to do with that wide player model and player build if I had to guess. Just because everything else on the court, I think Wilt Chamberlain does at a better level, or at least stat-wise appears like he should. So that's the one thing behind Wilt and Shaq. Both of them are the top interior bigs in my team. I don't think anybody can debate that there is a better interior big in my team. Now, is there a better complete center? I think so. But when you look at Wilt and you look at Shaq, those guys are going to compete, be the two best. I can't even say 2 best defensive centers in the game. I can't even say that anymore, which is crazy because they should be. But you're going to get the 2 most dominant interior bigs in my team. Defensively, offensively, I think that's a valid statement. Now, let's get to my number 1 because I'm trying to make the case for Shaq. I'm trying to make the case for Wilt, but neither one of them are as good as Giannis Antetokounmpo. And just look at the badge count. If you want to argue Wilt, you want to look at argue Shaq, just look at the badge count. Giannis has double the badges of either of those guards. And no matter what you think about that, badges are the most important thing in my team. When you realize that, you're going to start having more and more success. You can't replace badges. And when you see Giannis, even defensively, comes with every single badge in the game, you've got to respect it. Like, sure, doesn't have Hall of Fame rebound chaser. Shaq, Wilt, both of them have that. So maybe you could argue on the interior, Shaq and Wilt are more dominant defensively. But complete defensively, no. Giannis has clamps. Giannis has every defensive badge you could ask for. And even his defensive stats are absolutely elite. Mind you, Giannis's player build is one of the best year after year. His player build is always absolutely elite, absolutely incredible. He can stretch the court a little bit, has decent speed, can obviously handle the ball a little bit offensively. He is your most complete center. I don't think anybody can really argue that. Now, does that mean he's worth locking in? No, because I think Jaren, I think Wilt, I think any of these guys can compete with Giannis. But when we're talking about the most complete, the best center in NBA 2K24 my team right now, I think it's gotta be Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, as we wrap things up, guys, just some people that you could have had on here that I personally didn't. If you wanted to put Bam at that center position, he definitely could have been up here. Another honorable mention I do want to give to my man E. Jinlian, a card I really do like, your salary cap reward. He can go out there and stretch the court for you guys as well. So just a couple honorable mentions that I did want to shout out. That's gonna wrap it up for our video today, guys. Drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new, and as always, man, I love you guys. Have a blessed day.